Hi, this is John with Good Burger Reviews, and I'm here to do a brand new movie review, and the movie's called The Painted.
Hey, Mom. I found something weird.
It's these paintings. They're just all so creepy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
This movie is starring Sean Bridges, Alesco Palladino, Jaden Cal, and Jessica Ruth Bell. It is currently streaming on Prime Video. It is directed by Sasha Sibley. The basic plotline is members of a 1960s suburban family begin to unravel the secrets behind sinister paintings that haunt a deceased relative's estate. And this movie I'm doing a review on because one of my subscribers made a personal request if I would review this movie. So here's a review for you, Roland. Alrighty, so we're gonna break this review down. Let me put it to you this way. We're gonna do 5 sections. First, we're gonna talk about what's good about the movie. What I'm mixed on will be number 2. Number 3 will be the negatives. Number 4, we'll get into a few spoilers. And then 5, the rating. So could this movie blend be the Da Vinci Code meets the Poltergeist? Or maybe the Paintergeist? I don't know. Let's get into this one. So what's good about this movie? So let's talk about the paintings. Have you ever been to a haunted house or maybe watched a spooky movie and or a spooky scene in a movie and you're walking past a painting and you feel like as you pass the painting, the eyes in the painting are following you? You have? Well, if you have, well, that is this movie, but on steroids. Imagine a painting staring at you, but so much more. And the paintings in this movie really come to life. And even when they're in their still modes, they are very haunting, very spooky. This movie has all the traditional haunts, the spooks, the bumps in the nights. It does very well in this section of the scares. There's definitely a really cool jump scare with a painting in the basement. I think, like I said in my Until Dawn review, this movie could be told at a campfire as a story. And this definitely has a campfire story feel, haunted spook, traditional feel to it. I'll also say on the positives is I think it's pretty original that the paintings are the center of this and not just normally in most haunted movies the paintings are just one scene or off to the side. But it was very original kind of taking this premise. I've never seen it done before like this. Now there is some CGI used for this, but overall I thought it was done pretty well. It was mostly around the painting scenes because these paintings do come to life. And I really like how these paintings paint themselves and how it kind of evolves from a blank canvas to a painting, or how the paint moves in this movie. It really added a haunting effect to the storytelling of what was going on in this specific story. Now I'll go into more detail about the plot line in spoiler section, but I do want to add it here as a positive. The basic storyline, the basic campfire story that you would tell, the basic premise of this and how it goes from start to finish, I think it's a really good haunted and spooky story. So I guess the 2 things that I'm mixed on, I'll put it to you this way. What I'm mixed on is it's fairly predictable in the way the story unravels and what the main characters do. They go see somebody and then they get explained more. And there's definitely a couple exposition scenes that kind of dump the whole story of what's going on behind these paintings. And then also with the characters. So I think with the mix and in the negatives, it all is about the characters. But like these characters tend to do unrealistic things. So suspension of disbelief about how the characters are reacting to everything that's going on in the movie. Meaning their immediate reactions, like they don't seem so scared sometimes, and sometimes they get scared because it definitely gets scary. But their reactions, and it seems like sometimes they knew what was going on before they were kind of explained, and then other times it seemed like they were making decisions based on where the story's going and not like, so there's kids involved in this, and I always think like the kids, in any time there's anything that with danger in kids, you get the kids to safety. And they do eventually do that. They do eventually try to get their kids to safety. You know, but it's just some of those, why don't I go investigate that strange noise while I'm home alone type of decisions, or going up the stairs instead of out the front door. You know, everything that Sidney Prescott taught us about how to, you know, rule in a horror movie. Okay, so the negatives. So I guess it's really kind of maybe one negative or maybe one big negative that kind of encompasses a lot. But again, this is related to all the characters. It's a family that stars mom, dad, two kids or three kids. And the thing is they're, all right, their acting is rough. It's just, in some scenes it was decent, in other scenes it was just very, it took me out of it a little bit, so because sometimes the acting was so bad. For example, the mom is talking to her husband about everything that's going on, and it sounds like she's telling a story at a campfire. Now that wouldn't happen. So you know, that kind of took me out of it a little bit, the way they talk to each other. And I think a lot of it, sometimes with the bad acting, has a lot to do with the bad writing, because some of the lines, even though the overall story is a great story, some of the lines that the characters give or have to give are just cringy or awful. And some of it doesn't just make sense to what's going on within the story. Now, there's nobody really well known here, so I'm not going to roast them on their acting that well. So, you know, I don't know the history on any of these actors, and three of them are child actors, so I will give them credit there. Just to go over who the characters are, the dad is Adam, the mom is Evelyn, and the son is Nelson, and then they have two daughters, Jamie, and the littlest daughter, Lucy. And little Lucy was cute. She kind of reminded me of like Shirley Temple meets Dakota Fanning, like young Dakota Fanning. Well, that sums it up for the negatives, so let's talk about the spoilers a little bit. Let's get into a little bit of what happens in this story, how these paintings come to life, and what the ending is about. And then I'll give my rating. So it opens up, it's set in June of 1968, which was pretty cool because that is the same month that my parents got married in, and their anniversary is coming up next week, so happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. But it's 1968, it's a long time ago. So this is a throwback, and you have the basic family, Adam and Evelyn, and then the three kids. And they are, so Evelyn, the mom, gets word that her cousin has passed away, and she is now like the inheritor of the estate. Like, she's the main person who's running the estate. So she's got to go over to the house and take care of things. And that part reminded me of the first movie I reviewed this year, Wolfman. Same thing happens, relative dies, they go to a house, and things start to unravel. So they don't delay on getting into the spook. So as soon as you, there is an opening scene involving the dead characters already, and then they get to the house, and like as soon as they get there, these paintings are like spooky as heck. Like, they really did a good job with the paintings and the spook effect in them. as soon as they get there, it's like, so mom and dad kind of seem to be having problems. Like mom's kind of giving dad the cold shoulder, and dad likes to go off and take care of things on his own, and that's made pretty obvious in this movie. And then this painting of the main painting is this girl, and she's naked, and I think dad is definitely like taken in by her and attracted to her, and that plays out in what goes on at the end. And I kind of predicted that. I'm like, dad is definitely going up to girl painting up in the attic, and she's like the main painting, and he's gonna like it. But another creepy thing, like in the one of the first nights that they're there, teenage daughter, the older daughter, Janice, is like, she wakes up to her hair getting clipped, and like the next morning her hair is all over the bed and all over her, and like she blames the littlest sister, Lucy. And there was some sibling rivalry in this one, and the spooks are going on right away. The paintings are watching them, and they only stay there a couple nights because it doesn't take long before they're going to get out of there. So it turns out that the cousin that had died had basically married this guy, and he was all about these paintings, and he was big money, and these paintings are obviously luxury items and expensive. And, the reason why they're doing all this is because they're struggling and poor, and dad's business is falling apart, and they're going to get $10,000. So there's a lot on the line for them to stay there. And everything starts to unravel where the paintings are coming to life, bumps in the nights, these paintings come to life, and like literally people are like jumping out of the paintings and like thumping on the stairs and stuff like that. So it turns out the reason why they were doing that is because cousin and they're dead, but they had summoned up this demon out of the painting. So of course our main star Evelyn has to go ahead and do some research, and she goes and investigates and finds out the story behind the girl in the painting, and she's from like the early 1900s, and she was like, I guess she was gonna die, and then her husband curses her to the painting, and they call it the painted. She's like, make me the painted, and then they live their eternity in the painting. So I mean, that's the whole premise behind how these paintings come to life. So the paintings definitely get active on like the second or third night, and it gets to the point where the kids are at risk, and these demons, these ghosts are chasing them, and of course dad goes up to the attic and finds some happy time with the girl painting, and then they decide to go home. But the thing is, it was just like in the Poltergeist, the cursed followed them back to their house. So as soon as they got home, things were gone. The painting was somehow behind their bed. The one kid was starting to act up like he was possessed by a demon, and everything starts to go crazy. So mom and dad go back to the house. They're going to perform a ritual to try and stop this. But when they go back to the house, they do perform a ritual, and that's when dad admits that he fell for the girl in the painting, but it doesn't work. And when they get home, they realize that the son was already possessed by one of these little demons in the painting and was going after the youngest daughter. So they get the two daughters out, send them on their way, and they barricade him, and they're trying to perform this ritual again in their house. And ritual is really very basic. They just call out the spell, and it starts to change everything, but the son's trying to get in and everything like that. So like dad ends up realizing that someone has to be a willing participant and sacrifice himself. So he stabs himself in the belly, which makes everything work, and then he becomes the painted, and he goes into the painting with the demon girl. And she's still possessed of their son, so the two kids, Lucy and Janice, had been sent away, but they turned around to come back because now the demon's possessing her son, and son's all over mom trying to kill her. And of course, Janice rolls in at the last second, gets the lighter, and sets the picture on fire, but just the side where the girl was, so the dad is untouched in the picture. And the curse is broken. She goes away. Fortunately, Dad was still dead. I thought they were going to maybe try to figure out a way to bring him back, but no, he's dead. He's in the painting forever, and that's pretty much where it leaves off. Mom's left safe with the 3 kids. The end. So let's get down to business on this one. Like the other movies like a few other movies I've talked about, it had a lot of good strong parts and a lot of cringy parts. So I'm gonna blend those feelings together. And overall, I feel like this one was basic. It's a basic burger. It's a good one-time watch. If you like the traditional haunts, spooks, and those types of movies, which is my favorite in all the horror, all the subgenres of horror, this is my favorite element to be in with scary movies, that and slashers. But this one, it needed a little extra love with the acting. So we're gonna give it a basic burger. It is streaming on Prime, so if you like ghost stories and you like paintings, then go ahead and watch it. Thanks for joining me today. This is John with Good Burger Reviews. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, tap the notification bell, all that jazz. And thanks again. And stay scared, especially of those paintings on the wall.